bills on this computer.
Email. Here,
Yep.
and they should be right here. Down through.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And there's the abstracts there.
So
Okay.
where will we
Double
start?
click it. Double click it.
Okay.
Not connect. Yeah. And I'll have it.
When were they put on here? Sometime today?
Maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Usually don't put on much more before
Yeah.
that. And then
Okay. So each one of these is
Yeah.
different.
no.
Oh,
Trouble with mine, so I'm not getting help seeing this place today. I'm not good at computers.
okay.
Okay. Hmm. That one. Come on. All right. There it should be. I'm looking for. Come on. There it is. There.
Okay. Well, okay. So just when I touch it, go right back to the.
Yeah. Click on it. Double click it.
And then
Then just cancel that. You can print it.
I'm just moving the dial.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. She's ready.
Yes, it is red. It was green a little bit ago.
on the wrong table.
Okay, all mics are on, all mics are green. Okay, if everybody would please stand for the pledge and remain standing afterwards. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We had a member of the community pass away, Roger Kingdollar. So if you could please give him as well as his family a moment of silence. Thank you. Everybody that's in the audience, hopefully everybody has signed the sign-in sheet back there, please. Print so it's legible, please. Okay. Has everybody had a chance to review the bills?
Yes.
Okay. I got a question. Can you guys tell me what we're using the 20 concrete blocks for? I know, but.
Want me to tell you? I bought them.
I know, but you guys reviewed the bills, and I was wondering if, I thought I was out of the loop, if you guys knew and I didn't. Anybody know? Dale? Okay, Dale.
Temporary salt storage.
Since we tore down the old salt barn, he had to make that area. Okay, is that it? Then Margaret made a motion to accept the bills. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Everybody have a chance to look at the minutes from last month. Yeah, the only one I had, the organizational meeting, you had it that it passed 5-0, and the appointment was hang on, maybe Don, I got here late. So if that's the way. I don't know. Is that what you had to read all your things for Sean for the region and the supervisor? Or you had to go through the whole thing for your appointment? No, he was. I was a little late. Yeah. It wasn't for the duties of the supervisor. It was for that. Okay, with the correction on the organizational meeting, do I hear a motion to accept the minutes from the organizational meeting and the town board meeting? Second?
I'll second that.
First and second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So carried.
Okay. First up for the evening, Mr. Foote, from CPL.
All right, so I handed out everybody three handouts there, the map.
John, hand the speaker.
Yeah, you gotta, no, you can come up here and stand.
All right, so I gave everybody three handouts there. There's a map, an estimate, and the agenda. Just gonna go over that. So a little background for the folks that haven't heard this. About a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years ago, we sat down with the town of Barry, town of Albion, town of Shelby, town of Ridgeway. There was some discussion of doing a joint project between Barry and Shelby, putting up a tank. At the time, they were looking to switch to Village of Albion water. Long story short, Shelby is no longer interested in doing that. You know, at that time, the town had signed a contract with CPL for doing some of the preliminary engineering for them. So since things have kind of changed, I met with Sean and just kind of hit the reset button here on this whole project. Now, at the time, there was a joint project, town of Barry and Albion, Murray and Ridgeway had one issue. Shelby was in it for another issue. The concern with in the town of Barry and town of Albion is the lack of water storage. So, the tank that's behind the fire hall was built in the early 90s. It's a 150,000 gallon water storage tank, and at the time it was installed, was sufficiently sized, but it's grossly outgrown its that. This pink area on this map is the area that's served by that tank. Okay, so the water is pumped from the Village of Albion up to the 3 million gallon tank by the caution light, and then it's pumped again. There's a little pump station there that pumps it up to the tank behind the fire hall, and then it flows by gravity back to the north, back into Albion, back into Murray and Ridgeway. So that's been happening for 30 years. But as the town has developed, and districts have expanded in not only Barry, but Murray and Albion and Ridgeway, this is where the deficiency with the size has come into play. So based on the current water usage in that pink area, and that's not even taken into account in future usage, there's an undersize of storage of about 246,000 gallons. So that deficiency, the storage calculation would be, we would take the average daily usage plus a 2-hour fire flow to come up with what's required. So there's that, and then there's also areas in the town of Barry, notably in the southern part of the town, that have lower pressures at certain times. So given all of that, does it still make sense to put up a tank? I say yes, even without Shelby. So we reran the numbers to see what kind of financial impact that would have on there. And I'm skipping around here a little bit, but so the thought is put up a 250,000 gallon minimum water storage tank, which would be bigger than obviously what you have there now. Create 2 pressure zones in the town of Barry. We would be basically raising the pressure to the south, in those wherever we have the higher elevations that have the low pressures. That tank would be high enough to give them adequate pressures of 45 psi. So the tank. So back to the pressure zones. So we would make an 860 zone and an 810 zone. Currently, everything in the pink is in 810 elevation zone. So that's basically the overflow of the tank behind the fire hall. So we would create a higher tank. The new tank would be at a higher elevation, 50 feet higher, and serve the majority of the town of Barry to the south. Why not raise it for everybody? Because then the pressures at the north end in the town of Albion would be that much higher. I know they're already very high, at that northern limit. So we really want to keep that, kind of segregated. So the project overall to really, address the storage issue, to address this pressure issue would be to construct a new tank, 250,000 gallon. Again, for just illustration purposes, I just showed it on Pine Hill Road. There is flexibility on where it can go. That's where it was kind of originally thought when there's some discussion with Shelby, but again, we have some flexibility on where that tank could go. So you would have the tank as part of the project. We would have a pump station, small pump station, basically pumping out of the elevated tank behind the fire hall up to the new tank. There'd be pump improvements in the existing pump station, and then to separate the two pressure zones, PRV vaults. So pressure reducing vaults. So basically, you're using the water storage at the higher elevation to supplement that water storage at the 8 tons. They don't want to hear what I have to say either. So there are some additional improvements in the system, some controls, things of whatnot. So just flipping over the page, I guess we can go to the estimate. So we've looked at this, and I reviewed this with the supervisor. The cost of the tank, including site improvements, the new pump station that would be used to pump the water up to the new tank. We'd have to have pump upgrades at the existing pump station because we're going to be pumping additional water. THM removal equipment within the tank. And again, this was something that was maybe optional, item number 5 on the estimate, but we left it in there for just budgetary purposes. But the THM removal system would be, removing disinfection byproducts, which, again, if the town has high levels of that, that would be the place to do that removal. We have the pressure reducing vaults, 5 of those, and then telemetry and control improvements. So again, budgetary estimate of about $4.32 million. So if you flip that estimate over, the question is, well, how do we pay for this? So at the time when we were kind of looking with Shelby, there was some thought of basically making that entire pink area an overlay district. You would create a district, if you would, over that. That's probably not the way to do it. What we talked about was paying for it through an increase in the water rate, so that the second box down here where it says option 2, recovered through water rate increase. So all I've done was in the 3 columns was basically look at, this is what it would be as if it's a standalone project funded. The town just bonded it on their own, didn't get any grant money. The other 2 columns are 2 scenarios where I think that the town would have a very good chance to receive some WIA funding. The middle column being just a plain 60%, $5 million max grant. So the grant would be for 60% of the cost at a 6% interest rate. And then the last column is that same scenario where the town would qualify for hardship and receive a 30-year loan at 0%. So essentially what I did was I just took that capital cost, and if we just look at, say, the hardship column, again, we won't know until there's an application sent in, but I took that $4.3 million project, subtracted a 60% grant of $2.592 million, gives you a total finance of 1.7. Again, 0% for 30 years is a debt service amount of $57,600. So now if that's the annual payment based on the water usage at the time, again, these may be slightly different. That pink area uses 122 million gallons of water a year, and then there's the breakdown of those. So essentially, there would be a 47-cent rate increase to generate the revenue to pay for that. So the typical household, assuming that's 60,000 gallons, which is probably a little conservative for most people, unless you got 5 kids, is about $28 per year. So again, even without the hardship, it's at about $62 a year. But it was just kind of to give you guys an idea of tank storage volume calculation below is really just showing the math of how how we came up to that 250,000 gallon tank. So, again, depending on the funding situation, the funding scenario, 28 to $62, somewhere in that range. Again, it's kind of look at it as a 50 cent to $1 increase in the rate to pay for that. Then this way, everybody's paying for it in Albion, Ridgeway, Murray, and Barry. We don't have to get into EDUs. It would just be built into the water rate. So back to my agenda sheet. Again, it's any new customers that hook on to start paying at that higher rate. And again, a year and a half ago, this was kind of the approach with Shelby dropping out. We're really to the point where do we want to pursue this? Is it's again, this deficit's not going away, the storage deficit's not going away, the pressure issues are not going away. The state, there's $325 million available for WIA funding this year. I think it would be an excellent candidate when you have multiple communities involved, multiple communities benefiting. It's an existing system. So I think it would be a great candidate as opposed to like USDA rural development, which is what's typically used for like new districts. And again, the engineering piece, the original was authorized. So we were authorized back in June, I think it was June, to do an engineering report for about 18,000 plus the environmental report for 7,000 at the time. We started working on it, and then like I said, that's when things kind of changed with Shelby. So again, the stuff's already in place. It's really just, are we to the point where we want to pursue this? Where do we want to go? I guess as a town. Obviously, there would be we need to get the other communities on board. But again, I would have, similar conversation with them explaining the deficit in storage and, at least in Barry's case, pressure issues.
What happened with Shelby? Pulling out? Was it financial?
No, I think they found alternative. They figured out an alternative way to keep their source and not change water sources, which for them is actually probably simplifies things a little bit because they'll stay with Niagara County water.
So I'm looking at this, and what you described is more of a Barry project, and I understand the town of Albion's going to get storage and that pressure from here, but how does Murray and Ridgeway come into this where they don't get that?
So believe it or not, the water flows out of the Barry tank and serves. So that pink area on that map is all essentially under that pressure zone of that tank.
Okay.
So it's kind of the area of the service area of that tank is what the pink area is.
They wouldn't have the pressures they do without the elevator tank. They couldn't do it out of the 3 million gallon tank at the top.
So the 3 million gallon tank is really for the village.
Yeah.
So that serves the village, and we just pump out of it, and then if it flows back into the town.
With raising the pressures, is there going to be any problems with the lines there?
No, all of the existing lines are rated, for the high, I'm going to say higher pressure. I mean, we're talking 20, 25 pounds, not, it's not a drastic jump. But again, these higher elevations, especially on the west side of town, if there's any extensions in the future, district extensions, you're going to need it. And that added pressure is going to improve the fire flows, all of that. So there's a huge benefit for that. And again, the tank being so undersized, I mean, if there is a fire, God forbid, I mean, there's not much storage there because the daily demand is so high. And it's not a little deficient; it's grossly deficient. So
we talked about that. I know when we came through the Booster project, and one of the things is fire support, but in reality, it wasn't going to be because it was it's still going to be.
Right.
But what's changed in the last 35 years that, you know, that tank was state of the art, ready to go, and now we're
Yeah, but
way low.
I mean, I don't know if, again, in the early '90s when the initial district was built, that we were just going to serve Berry Center and that was it, and there was no thought in getting to all these rural areas and really rural areas and serving them. And I mean, now you're really seeing townwide districts everywhere. I mean, basically, Town Albion's just fully built out, you know, and Berry, we're looking at trying to do the same thing. So, you know, the tank would be sized for that too, for full build out of Berry. You know, where it's currently serving now in Albion, Ridgeway, and Murray, there's very tight little growth there. But you know, again, it's hard to imagine that that little tank, I say little tank, is really serving this quite a large area. So
Jason, do those towns you mentioned, they have to go along with this to kind of make it happen?
yeah, when we talked before, I mean, I know the town of Berry recently updated the agreement with Albion, so that so I would think there would be some sort of modification to that to do this project. Again, I wouldn't obviously just do it and then, hey, surprise, you know, we're raising it. I mean, we need to be upfront about it. Um, I would say and I think Sean was here, the initial conversation when a year and a half, 2 years ago, when we were pitching it to some of these communities was very lukewarm, only because we were looking at creating a district and things of that sort. Um, and again, somebody at the time needed to take the lead, and because really Town of Berry was affected the most, and that's why it kind of made sense to do it at the time. Um, again, it's no different than if the pump burns out or the tank needs painting. I mean, those costs are going to be absorbed by everybody benefiting from that tank, and you know, these people in this purple pink area should be paying. And again, the fair way to do that is in the water rate. I mean, I'm trying to do a district and charge per EDU. I mean, it just gets kind of messy because it just gets messy. So, you know, again, maybe it could be a separate fee in the water rate. I mean, you have that separate tank fee of $15 a quarter. Maybe there's some other capital expense in there. I mean, there's a few different ways to probably do that, but again, that's just my initial thoughts would be just to put it in the water rate.
You haven't talked to any of the other towns or anything yet? We're the initial first step?
Well, I mean, we spoke with them a year and a half ago. You know, the concept was the same, with the exception of, I mean, we were serving Shelby at the time, so they were, you know, at the table also. So, you know, since that's not the case, really the tank, we lost, you know, 1/5 of the participants. So, you know, we'll move on without them. And
what was it? Was it shelled out? If we have a fifth of every township, a fifth of the cost,
no, it was
or was it the size and amount of water
when-
they're going to be using?
when we had looked at it, trying to do it by EDU. We looked at how many EDUs were in Ridgeway and Albion and Murray, and we were breaking it out. I mean, I didn't bring that with me, but you know, they were all paying their proportion based on their EDU, so it was just a percentage. But they could have one EDU using more water, so the water rates seemed to be moving forward seemed to be the fair way to go. Then if you're using it, you're paying for it. Again, there could be people that are in the district that aren't using the water, you know, that would, if you did it with a overlay district or something like that, would be charged. But this is just the water use. So as far as the next steps go, again, it's really, you know, we're at the point where if we're going to move forward with this, you know, the WIA deadline is June 14th. So I get it, it's 5 months away, but you know, it'll be upon us before we know it. And there's a few things that we would need to do in order to get that application in. You know, again, there's an engineering report, there's seeker that's required, there's bond resolutions that are required. And again, some of this we've been authorized. We haven't really done anything on it. Things have been kind of on hold, but you know, until I reached out to you guys again. But again, if it's something that we want to move forward with, maybe there's some more, we would have additional public informational meetings with the public here, we would have it with, Albion, maybe there's one giant one at the school, just thinking out loud, but, the intention is, let's move this forward, it is gonna benefit, quite a few people. And then engage with a grant writer, I know you guys, do use Municipal Solutions, they would be somebody that could put the application together for WIA. But again, the deadline is June 14th. So, and again, EFC has announced 325 million in that program for this year. A little bit less than what it was this past year, but nonetheless, the program is ongoing. And then I just put together like just a rough schedule saying, okay, if we did apply, generally you find out in fall, winter, whether you received the award or not, November-ish. So at the end of this year, you might find out, you'd be doing design and permitting basically all of 2025, give or take. Maybe in the winter of 2026, you would, early 2026 bid this out. So I think it's probably a 2026 construction that we'd be looking at this point, just kind of rough, give you just an idea of.
At least a couple of years before shoveling the ground.
Yeah, and again, that's if you start now. I mean, that's just how these projects, they just take this long and.
Without any delays.
So, I mean, that's kind of it in a nutshell. I mean, there are details that need to be worked out, things of that sort, the report, but again, we've just been kind of on pause until, I kind of got your buy-in on how we wanted to move forward.
Jason, you're talking about just utilizing WIA funding?
Yes.
No RD?
So we can. I mean, we can look at that as an option.
That'd be an increased cost.
I mean, you can look at CDBG. There's other.
I was going to ask about CDBG next.
Yeah, and they're all on the table again. The likeliest source was in my mind was WIA. I know the town hasn't historically. You guys haven't qualified for CDBG. And RD. Again, RD is usually for new districts, new installations. But again, that doesn't mean we can't, get a loan. Maybe end up getting a WIA grant and then you use RD loan, or some combination. Again, the difference being it would be 38 years as opposed to 30. Maybe you don't qualify for hardship, so instead of 6%, maybe you can get poverty rate and it's
Well, that's
4%.
what bothers me is the hardship.
Yeah.
It'd be ideal if we could get hardship based on the 4 municipalities. When we get the 0% interest, it'd be awesome. But
I mean, there's 2,300 EDUs. And there's a lot of barriers. So this is why I think it's you have 4 communities involved, 4 communities that are benefiting. That's why. I mean, I think WIA would be. But again, RD would be another option. But again, you're going through the process of putting a report together, all of that. Again, it could be submitted. It doesn't have the same deadline. It's got a revolving deadline, so we don't have to meet that hard target date of 14th of June.
so I'm looking at your next steps on the backside of this agenda.
Again, it's just things have changed. The intention was to move forward before. I know there's, things are a little bit different. I just want to make sure that we want to stay that course and, keep on keeping on. So again, we would just trigger things. I mean, I would want to get Municipal Solutions involved, at some point. Other than that initial meeting, yeah. We at that initial meeting, it was really, there were a lot of people involved, and it was like, well, somebody's got to take the lead, and we don't want 4 people trying to take the lead, and that's when I was like, most of it's in Barry. Let's just move forward. They can just follow. But again, there may be IMAs, intermunicipal agreements that are required again as we move through this process. But again, do we want to continue the process?
And having other municipalities all tied together on this makes it look like a better project.
Absolutely.
in the eyes of the government.
Absolutely.
You have here prepare a preliminary engineering report.
Yeah, so we were, like I said, we were authorized June of 2022. It's been a while, and again, we started it, and like I said, things changed a little bit.
So
things
just
are
need a
started.
modification then.
We would be a lot of modifications. So far, change things, but so we've already kind of been authorized already to do a lot of it, all of the application. There would be some amendments probably to the water agreement with Albion. I mean, that would have to be, again, we would want to sit down with, the other communities and just be upfront about it. But, yeah.
What's the general feeling? People on board here? That's basically what Jason's waiting for right now. Do we start communicating with the other municipalities to see if
I see the benefits of this. Do we do it, or does Jason go and present to all the communities, and then those supervisors get together?
And that's what we did last time. Is we had the supervisor and the water operators here, and I mean, when we met with, Albion was the other big player, and Dick Remley was there, and Mike Neidert, and Mike Neidert wasn't there, but he knew about the project.
I think Shelby
think it
was
was
the
my
only
thing.
one that was, or I'm sorry, Ridgeway was the only one that wasn't there.
But I think that if it's needed, which I believe it is, I think it's, you have a legitimate reason why you would do it. Again, it's no different than painting a tank or replacing a pump or something that happens anywhere else. Bigger magnitude.
Basically, the last time I said, I went through the three benefits, and we kind of fire was kind of iffy. But in this case, it's going to serve, the 4 towns. It's going to increase our budget. We need more storage. I think, and cost wise, it's not going to come out of the town taxes. It's going to come out of people that are water customers. Water customers. If we can keep that low, that could be a win-win to get there. So, say the next step is like you kind of move and talk to the other municipalities.
In order of magnitude, I mean, it's $30 to $70 a year. You know what I mean? It's not nothing, but it's not hundreds and thousands. It seems manageable because they're spread amongst so many folks.
So if you go by the houses and say, okay, what am I getting for my $60 more? You're getting more pressure. You're going to have that supply of water guaranteed, or better guaranteed, and you're going to have better fire protection because you have more water.
I mean, and it could be something as simple as the pump goes down. There's lightning strikes the pump station, and we got to run off storage for a while. It would be a dire situation now because you wouldn't make it very long. Things do happen.
But we're not short by a little, we're short by.
Right. And again, at the time, you're doing a small district, you're not going to put up a 500,000 gallon tank that has very little use. That wouldn't make sense either. So, again, it was the right decision at the time, but the way things have evolved over the last 30 years, it's different. Who would have thought that Hemlock Ridge Road
And
would
that's
have
more
water,
the norm now of all these communities getting together for their water. Is that more the way everybody's going?
I mean, but that's why I think it's a very good project to present because it's not just one community it's benefiting. It's a multi-communal benefit, and I think the fact that they can give grant money and they're going to help 2,300 EDUs. I mean, there's several thousand customers. I think it's not a district where there's 60 people that are benefiting. It's a good chunk of the county.
I would say the next step would have authorized you to go ahead and see if all the other townships are still on board, because that would be a huge change one or two of us said no. So that would be the next step, I would say. Because it sounds like something that we definitely need. And since we can get possibly a hardship grant, that would be awesome. Even if not, say right in the middle, $52 a year. Like you said, it's not crazy.
I mean, I think you'd have to look at the water agreement. I don't know. I mean, I think you would have the ability, the way I read it, to make changes, notify them. And again, I don't know if they would have I don't know if some of these communities could vote on it. Your agreement's with Albion, and I don't know if there's separate agreements between Albion and Ridgway and Albion and Murray. So again, we would want to go through the legality piece of it, just make sure everything's fine. But again, obviously be upfront. But again, reasonable capital project at a reasonable cost for a known purpose.
Well, if you're doing it by water rate increase, that is the discretion of the town of Barry. The water rate changed it last year. That's not something that's covered by the town. It's a reimbursement cost.
So it really is up to the town of Barry to make the decision because of how it's written.
If you decided to go about it by charging it as a water rate increase, then I don't, what I'm hearing from Jason is that that's not a great plan.
Because that one,
Creates a
they
whole
could turn the
district.
district down.
Yeah.
They could vote the district down, say we don't want it.
I mean, in even your worst case scenario between, and that's assuming no grant funding is completely covered by your water rate increase based on Jason's numbers is $1. Sorry. I'll use the microphone that you put the batteries in. Yeah, I think in the long run, the cost of creating a district and trying to get a district approved in 4 different towns would far outweigh any benefit. The $20 a year savings per EDU.
And as far as the grants go, I mean, you would make the application. If you didn't get a grant and the funding, you don't necessarily have to move forward. I mean, we could reapply the following year. You could change it, apply for RD, CDBG. I mean, you're not at the point where you're forced to do the project. I mean, you've gone, dare I say, this far without a tank, so, but again, I would think you would just, hit reset again and
WIA is due in like mid-June.
June 14th, right? That's the deadline.
CDBG is due in July, is it not?
Correct. We can talk to, I would say, talk to Jeff Smith on this. I know we did early on. He may have some other ideas of funding. So that would be a $1.2 million grant. So CDBG is just a one lump sum.
Jason, can I ask a question? So the town is seeking, well, maybe seeking additional grant funding through WIA and CDBG for Water District 10. So is there a problem with having two different competing grant applications?
You would be applying this year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I can't imagine that we should be shooting ourselves in the foot.
That would be a conversation with Jeff Smith, but I don't believe you can have two applications for the same.
To go
If one
for
is sewer, one in water, it'd be different. But
If I understand correctly, to go for a CDBG, they require you to apply for other grants as well, which would be like RD, WIA.
Yep. And
Okay.
again, you could go through the revolving, just standard EFC financing, so you could get a CDBG grant and then maybe get EFC financing. So there's multiple combinations, but again, when you do the map plan and report all of that stuff, seeker, bond resolution, that open. I mean, you've completed everything you need from all the applications. It's really just a matter of different agencies.
We're hoping we're going to get the CDBG for Water District 10. But we have to apply for WIA as well.
Sorry, I did not mean to rain on the parade. I just didn't want to. I'm thinking you probably didn't know that we had other plans to seek additional funding for Water District 10.
That's a good point.
I know, I just wasted all of your time. I'm so sorry. This was a
going on.
lovely presentation, though.
If we can do two at the same time, what would be the cost?
So as far as the engineering goes, I mean, you guys have already authorized us to do, so that we have signed contracts for. As far as what municipal solutions, I will say throwing, shooting from the hip, $5,000 to $10,000 maybe for the application, something like that.
We could probably look at the proposal you have from them in your packet
There you go.
for the other one.
They're all around 5,000-6,000 each.
Yeah. Again, they're putting the paperwork together. We're providing all of the supplemental information to the reports.
Is all of that captured in your first line total capital cost? That includes all your engineering, anticipated engineering, legal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The 4.3 million does include all the soft costs. I put money in there for land acquisition. I skipped over that, but so there's again 10% contingency, and then I just use 25% for legal, admin, administration, engineering, in there. So that 4.3 million is total project cost.
Any other questions? Okay, by the sound of it, we are interested. So can I have a motion allowing Mr. Foote and CPL to proceed with contacting the other municipalities and getting the ball rolling? Second is David.
Worst comes to worst, I mean, maybe we just do this in 2025. We do the sales pitch this year and talk to the towns and get that all out of the way, get everything ironed out. If we can't submit the application.
Now we're just talking.
Obviously, District 10's way further ahead than what we are.
It'd be a little bit of a rush for June anyway.
It always is.
Yeah, I know. Even when you have even when you have a district that's been around for 6 years, it'll still be a rush.
So yeah, good point. I can revise the number. I mean, it's not going to be a $12 million project, but maybe it's 5% or 3% higher, something like that. And just use 2025, 2026 numbers. Just kind of project that out. And again, at the end of the day, it's really probably not going to change the water rate increase too awful. I mean, a few cents here or there. But again, maybe go to these towns with slightly higher numbers. Say, hey, this is going to be delayed a year. I understand the town situation. I don't think we can have two applications.
I don't. Even if you could, I don't think it makes sense because I think it's unlikely you'd be awarded 2 grants.
Yeah, and again, they're going to spread the wealth and
Yeah, you don't want to kill a good project. Say, if you want to do that, I'm just gonna go wait in the parking lot. Let me know when it's over.
So again, it's I'll say slow play it a little bit, get the community outreach, get everybody on board. Again, maybe there's a agreements that have to be amended. Because as part of the application, they may want to know that all the 4 communities are on board, so you have the resolutions, things.
There's an awful lot that is involved in getting this grant put together and being submitted. And we have 4 months. And I don't know if you can, as Bridget pointed out, I don't know if you're going to be able to get everything together in 4 months.
And again, we would be up for the challenge. Again, I understand that there's 4 communities involved. We would be hard pressed to do that, but so again, I think it makes sense to wait a year and get everything done this year in anticipation. I don't think the program's going away for WIA. I mean, it's been around for several years. It's funded a lot of projects.
I don't think that's gonna
Unlikely.
happen. Okay, so I had the motion. Margaret made the motion, Dave seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried then. Okay, Mr. Foot, can I hit you up for one more thing? Because I know you're gonna want to go home. It's Valentine's Day. You want to see Brooke. I know.
Sean, anything for you.
He's gonna hold you
Anyways,
to
yeah.
it.
Anything planned in the very near future pertaining to the park?
Usually.
I'm
We
sorry.
have baseball planned. We have another team, so there's I'll call it a 12U select team that wants to use the field. Again, just trying to get foot traffic in there. And then just the usual, things going on at the pavilion. We get a handful of those every year. And as far as improvements go, I know we have the Ninja Warrior training apparatus that we have to install. One of the things that I need to do is we need to put a plan together with the layout of that equipment. So that was planned to go west of where the pavilion is in that general area, but it's really coming up with a plan of how big of square foot that's going to need, and then really just talking with Dale on the budgeting for the wood chips or the surface. So finishing and installing the equipment is great, but we have to complete everything soup to nuts before people can use it. So we don't, just talking with Dale, we don't want to start it and not have the budget and money there for the wood chips. So, but we,
Right.
yes. So I know the Betterment Committee has applied for a grant for using, it's the rubber surface. So I know that that's out there, but again, there's, talking to Cindy, there should be a plan B of what do we do if we don't get that? Do we want to keep delaying, the install? So she spoke with me several weeks ago as far as the square footage approximate for the grant. So I think she submitted that. So I don't know when she would hear back, but again, I think once we hear back and then, it's figuring out if there's, volunteers that are going to put this stuff together or how we go about doing that. But, we wanted to make sure everything was in place before we started it. Digging the hole and putting footers in and putting equipment in there and then letting it sit for 6 months out there with snow fence around it. I mean, I don't want that either.
Okay.
So I do need a plan.
When it comes to the Ninja equipment, the company that you buy it from, the people that have had it before, do they give you like layouts, like templates, like this should be 20 feet from this, and this should be 100,
You did. You sent me stuff. There's very little.
I mean, is there any?
There's I'm trying to think of the name of the organization, but it's like a state mandate. Okay, you need this piece of equipment, like you're saying, so far away from the other one, and I can't think of the name of the organization.
But there is an organization that that
There's
listed or
standards.
a rough standard.
Yes, there's standards that you have to follow. You can't just throw it together like like your
Like it's,
backyard.
yeah.
You know.
Sean, 720. YouTube audio is almost not there. Phone is kind of okay. It was at 720. I don't know if it's any different now.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
The YouTube audio is almost not there,
Well, that's probably because people aren't talking in the mic.
probably.
You said you got 2 leagues. That's little league, basically, right?
Yes.
What about there was interest of softball? At least there was talk last year. Is there anything with them this year?
I understand that the girls, the Storm that played, Albion Storm that played there, not last year, but the previous 2 or 3 seasons. So I know they have multiple teams. I have not spoke with Amanda Gillette on what field they plan to use. Now they didn't have a team. They didn't use the field last year. So whether they're just going to continue and want to use it, the backfield again this year for, I think there's multiple age groups, like maybe 8, 10, and 12U for the girls. I can get with Amanda Gillette to see if they plan to use that.
I believe there was Alba/Batavia softball league
Yeah, so
that wanted to do a tournament or 2.
So yeah, on that, so we've heard from the Glow. It's the Genesee Livingston Orleans Wyoming County League, the Glow League, that they've wanted to host tournaments here. They probably need 2 fields. This is where we talked about having like a multi-use field and having like a portable pitching mound, so we could have 2 fields in use. And there was we talked about using the big field, the hardball field with the dugouts, as a multi-use field, and just putting a portable mound there, so it could be used for these tournaments. I haven't. I mean, that was last fall. Was the last correspondence I had with the Glow. I haven't spoke with them since.
Okay. And talking about a multi-purpose field, we still got the soccer goals, right? No? We disposed of them? I know they laid out there for a long time. Okay.
So the soccer has been in Carlton. It's been up there.
Uh-huh.
I think the likelihood that you get any of the football. I mean, now that the school's got turf, they've been allowing more use of that. So you're competing against that. So again, I mean, that was always my hesitancy to build more fields. And I think it just proves the point if the school's letting some of the youth use those. So again, I think we're solid with the baseball. The girls softball again has used it in the past. I think they'll continue to use it. I just need to reach out to the coach.
Okay.
And then with the playground equipment, I'll just work with Dale on that.
Okay. Very good. Anybody else got questions?
Had enough.
Mr. Foote, thank you very much. You may be excused. Say hi to Brooke from all of us. Okay. Margaret's coming down to you, Dale. Yours just went red.
Oh, did it?
So she's going to give you her mic. Okay. Okay, next. We have Barbie Starowitz, who wishes to address the board. And you can see it on your agenda there. Anyone wishing to address the board, this goes for everybody in the room. Please be respectful of the 5-minute time limit. Please give your full name and legal address before speaking. This is, please show respect to the speakers and allow them to talk without interruptions. Remember to sign up to speak to the board by calling or stopping into the town clerk's office by the Tuesday before the board meeting to place name on agenda. Please keep your subject matter to one topic and remember that this is not for questions and answers, just a time for you to address the board, meaning the speaker. Okay? Ms. Starowitz, it's all yours.
My husband and I are the owners of the Onion Storage, formerly owned by Johnny Messina on the corner of McNair and Transit Road. My first concern started in August when we received a letter stating that there was a public hearing August 29th for Water District number 10. Right now on the website, there is no copy of the minutes. Can this be updated and fixed? September 13, residents spoke about concerns and asked questions regarding the cost of the project. That was the only line item for Water District number 10 in your meetings dated September 13th on page 3. October 11, Town of Berry minutes. Water District number 10. We needed updates, information regarding cost, and a discussion will be made by the town board regarding moving forward on the results. I've still not received any information on cost. November 8th meeting. Your town board minutes. Speakers, a resident asked questions regarding and would like blah blah and would like more details on Water District number 10. When this minute was, the meeting minutes were written up, it did not put any details of what the speaker, who it was, what was said. You have a one-line item. And I will repeat again, I was at the meeting, I was the speaker, and asking again for Water District number 10 costs. December 13, your town minutes. Water District number 10, the project is on hold. Informational letters will be mailed. Then Sean and Dave Waters will go door to door to get opinions. It's December 13's minutes. Did anybody call me? Did anybody send a letter? I'll tell you point blank, the answer is no. Continues on. We received a letter, January 12th, was dated. It says, hello. It has information for residents, but where is it for a storage building on the corner of McNair and Transit? On the outside of the envelope, it says 0.5 unit equals $540.13 on the outside of the envelope addressed to my husband, to my home address. On the letter, that's funny. Debt service per parcel pre-COVID 2019 is $508.16. Post-COVID is $1,080.26. So I have no idea from this letter, still to this date, February 15, what is the cost? What is the determination of how you came up with the figures? on taxing a agricultural building that is holding onion crates. Continuing on, in December, I asked the supervisor to speak at the end of the meeting. I was told that no one from the public can speak. So my assumption is during the meeting, the public can't speak. After the meeting, the public can't speak, especially if you're concerned about something that is happening during the meeting. So I'd like to know why this is your town of Berry rule. That's great. You have a buzzer.
Yeah, because as it is pointed out, you have a 5-minute time limit.
The appointment to speak at the meeting, I was never informed that I had a time limit.
This has been on our agenda for years, and you have been here for many meetings, have you not? Therefore, you have read this because you are apparently very thorough.
That you're exactly right. Went on this morning to get the town agenda. And I took a picture. The town agenda was for January 4th. So there was no town agenda for me to read and to understand.
This has not changed, Ms. Starowitz. This is exactly the same. It has been every single board meeting for years.
Are you familiar with the open meetings law?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Okay. Could you go to even for the minutes, for section 106 for minutes?
I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, could you read that?
I
There's
don't
no
have it.
minutes on the website. There's no agenda today on the website.
Take another look. It's there. It got modified and changed again today. It was on at lunchtime. No, never mind. Never mind. Furthermore, yes, let's continue.
Councilman just is why isn't the public even able to listen to the meetings?
Microphones do work. I'm reading them right now. As I have said before, when he pointed out, what did I say?
Is it cured?
What did I say?
Is it
Were
cured?
you listening? In order for these to work, you have to speak into them. They don't pick you up when you're sitting back like this.
Other townships don't have the same problem. How much does it cost for a new microphone? You brought it up at previous meetings that I attended that you were going to get into a new system.
We did. This is all brand new. Brand new mics, everything, as of last year.
Well, you can hopefully hold it days ago. I just listened to it today and you can't hear anybody.
Well, like I said, you have to speak into the mics. That's why, like, when Miss O'Toole was talking earlier, that's why I showed this to her. Yes, that does help. Okay, you're changing topic. We said we stayed with the one topic. You're talking Water District 10. Are we finished?
Timed 5 minutes, and I would like to also address why you cannot let the public speak like other townships.
I had a feeling that might come on up. And as per the Association of Towns and the Comptroller's Office, it says the public participation in town board meetings, it says, although open meetings law gives the public the right to attend town board meetings and to listen to town board deliberations, the public does not have the right to speak at town board meetings except as provided by rules created and adopted by the town board. There's your rules right there that are on the agenda every single month. So because you had called in and you wanted to be on for last month, we accommodated you because you had to leave town for work, no problem, and we carried you over to this month. You signed up, you were able to speak. But according to the law, we don't have to listen to anybody. We're here to do and conduct our business. And that's the same in all municipalities, but they handle it differently by municipality.
So this is a dictatorship. No public speaking. I understand. Thank you, Supervisor.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Okay, we have no letters to the board. Hemlock Ridge.
No update.
No movement. Okay. On the Baird Solar Project, something that Lee had discovered in going through reports, something that our CEO used to receive every week, every Wednesday. It's called an SWPPP inspection report. I waited until today to send out the most recent copy to you, which I think I got right around 2 o'clock today. So I forwarded it to everybody. It's inspection date, February 14th, 2024. And it lists all the things that the project manager takes a look at, what has occurred. It has a map, diagram, showing where some of the work is being performed. So we have gotten it so that now it comes to Lee and myself and our future CEO when we get that person on board. At this time, our temp gets it as well. So I just wanted to let you know what that is, and that is, once again, a weekly report that we get for the Baird Solar Project up here in 98. If you happen to drive by there, and I'm sure, Dave, you have, going to and from, you'll see that it's starting to look like a porcupine out there with all these quills sticking out of the ground. So,
Are they gonna do photos and all that every week on that report, or is that just a one-time deal, or for
no,
people who
from
don't drive by?
the ones I have looked at for, I mean, this has been going on for almost a year now, weekly, and the ones I've looked at, they have those photos on there.
Do they?
They'll be
Yeah.
on there every report. It's a DEC required report having to do with the stormwater pollution prevention plan. So they submit it weekly to DEC. They've got pictures, site conditions to make sure that they're complying with their permit. But only during construction. It'll stop once construction stops.
Okay. Heritage Wind. George.
So as we discussed at the workshop, Heritage Wind is, put in their, we submitted their application into ORES to what they want to do. One of the things that they put in was they were wanting to have it be a minor modification instead of major modification, which I disagree with. They wrote a minor modification. We kind of lose touch of the town on having actually done. Thank you. Exactly. We'll talk about that later. Exactly. Thank you, sir. So I reached out to Bridget about that, and didn't think that it was gonna go through. She thought it would be kind of a waste of money for us to send a letter, uh, requesting that it stay a major modification. I agree with, on that. But as a town, it won't cost us anything to send in a letter to them and let them know that we still want to have a say in it. So I have a resolution here that I'd like to present. Whereas January 16th and January 34th, 2024, Heritage Wind LLC submitted modifications to the permitted Heritage Wind project to the New York State Office of Renewable Energy Siting, ORES, and requested that the new modification be deemed minor modification rather than major modification. Whereas these modifications include the addition of 4 turbines, a location change of 7 turbines, an addition of 3 temporary met towers, an additional laydown area, an additional cement batch location, and other changes that are likely to result in an adverse impact not previously reviewed or permitted that will need to be reviewed. Be it resolved that the Town of Berry send a letter drafted and signed by Dr. McKenna and be reviewed prior to submission by our town attorney, requesting that the modification submitted by the permit holder, Heritage Wind, be maintained as a major modification by New York State ORES. I'd like to make a motion for us to send that. Yes.
I'll second that. I think it's a major modification myself.
What do you base that major modification on, George?
As I just stated, they're adding 4 turbines, changing the location of 7, all the additional cement.
Now, can I back up a second before you go too far? Adding 4 turbines?
Yeah.
They went from 33 to 28. That doesn't sound like they added 4 turbines.
Then one's taken out and added at 4.
Okay? I would love you to show me exactly where those are on this. This is the most recent projection chart that was put out January 5th of 2024. I also have the map from August 1st of 2022 and from July 24th of 2023. And especially up in the northeast corner where they eliminated 3 turbines up there. So I don't see how they're adding any wind turbines. I don't know where you got that from.
They removed 4 and they added back in. So they don't have the.
They had 6 up here where you were just pointing in the upper northeast corner. There are now only 4 up there. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm sorry, there's 7. Oh, yeah, but there's 5. I counted this one.
Okay, well, I'm not quite sure their actual funding and in their panel, so that's what I went by. If you.
And that's what they said,
Yeah.
correct, George?
Yeah.
That's what they said?
That's what they.
Can you show that to me,
No,
please?
I cannot.
You would also, I noticed that in this letter that was sent to ORES by Ben Wisniewski, that it was stated on here the explanation also included a document from Vesta, which is Vesta, that stated Vestas has used a guideline of minimum 2 to 3 rotor diameters for setback from each other. And yes, that is true, but it's also very misleading because Vestas, and I have the document in my hands from March 15th of 2023, where it says they utilize the guidance of 2 to 3 rotor diameters, and they utilize that when the wind is in a row. If you talk about the row, the wind in this area, we know, generally flows from west to east. More specifically, from the southwest to the northeast. So you don't want to set wind turbines up in a southwest northeast pattern, because then you have that turbulence that comes off of the turbine. That's why if you were to set it up in that kind of a pattern, you would need them 2 to 3 the diameter of the blade, the spin.
So it's interesting, John, you're giving a lecture on this. Are you an expert on this, on the engineering?
Well, let's just say that I've been doing a lot of reading lately
are you
because.
an expert?
Am I an expert? No, I'm
Okay.
no more of an expert than you are, George.
Exactly, and that's my point.
But I have documentation in front of me, and you
Exactly.
do not.
As I'm reading through, well, I was just going through and saying, I went through this, I looked at it, at the workshop, I asked if anybody else did. I was concerned about the flicker and the shadow flicker and all these things that were going on, and we don't have a clue of how to do this. And if they change it to minor, which they are asking to do, we're going to lose touch with this. So, as a town, to protect our citizens, I'm asking to leave it as a major modification so that we do have some say and some intervener funds so that we can take and protect our citizens. Now, if you disagree with me, and, I don't know why you would want to not protect your citizens of Barry. Do you disagree with me?
I do disagree with you, George.
You don't want to protect the citizens of Barry.
Oh, in that respect, I do want to protect them. But protect
Fantastic.
them from what, George?
From shadow flicker that's over our 25 hours is our.
That was interesting because in here, when you're talking about shadow flicker, you're talking about there's less wind turbines, but for some reason, if there's less wind turbines, the increase in shadow flicker. Now, I don't know about you, but we live in an area of the country where we don't have a lot of sunny days.
Okay.
Do we? Do we? Yes or no?
Yes, and we don't have
We
a lot
have
of
a lot of
either
sun-
here. Yes, and we
I
don't have a lot
know.
of wind. 25 hours is the town of Barry's limit for shadow flicker. The state overruled us on that and said, nope, it was okay to have 30.
Not to exceed 30.
If you look at the shadow flicker now on those reports, we're over 100 hours on coloring and the color coding.
That must be total because it sure isn't per wind turbine.
Need to take and look.
Do you know that those Vestas wind turbines have a monitor on them? There's a monitor on them that can register how much shadow flicker is occurring so that if it starts to exceed, it can be shut down. Thank you.
So it's a wasted project. It's a
Well,
wasted
let the
project if it's
developer
gonna be
worry
shut-
about that. It costs them money,
we
does
need
it
to
not?
worry about our citizens. So all I'm saying is we need to let this stay a major modification. That's all I'm asking for. It's not rocket science.
No, it's not.
So
No, it's not. You're just on a personal vendetta, that's for sure. And you've made it very.
Yes, I am.
Oh,
Thank you.
George.
I am here to protect you. Sean is saying that he's not.
Throw my 2 cents. I'm not on a personal, but I think after they did years of studies of where they were originally going to put them and everything, as far as environmental and birds and everything else was taken into effect, which was good. But they did that, and moving them is going to change those. So a letter is a stamp.
Yeah.
I,
It's not going to cost us anything.
That's not true, though. Okay, so as the town attorney, you're asking me to review and sign off on this. I cannot review and sign off on a letter that has factual and scientific assertions that I haven't reviewed all the supporting documents for. And that was, I don't disagree that this should be a major modification, most likely. I do take issue with the fact, with going through and reviewing and commenting on documents that are likely to change. There was an application supplement filed today. And so I can't put my stamp on something when I have not reviewed the documents and done my due diligence. And the exact arguments that you both are having about shadow flicker and very technical issues, we really can't, without
involving the actual consultants, it would be irresponsible for me to say, yeah, I'm okay with this. So, to the extent that the board wants to allow an opinion to go out there, I don't necessarily have an objection, but I will not, I cannot put my name on it without doing my due diligence. I would not be doing my job as a town attorney.
Perfect. Would it be better for us than just, I formulate a letter and send it?
I think that if you have a letter that isn't backed up by review by the consultants, I don't think that it has a lot of weight.
But it's saying that we still think it should be done by May the 9th.
And the conversation that you and I had was that I think that you can do this letter once there's been a completeness determination. There will still be time to do this letter.
Okay, I'm just addressing that they're already stating that they want to make it a minor modification.
Right,
Just
but
trying
there,
to nip that in the bud.
but
And
there's
just so
no,
ORES knows, we're looking at it.
well,
We
there,
disagree with it.
I mean, CSAB's attorney has already put in a letter objecting to it, so ORES understands that's an issue. ORES already knows that's an issue, which is why they have gone back to the developer already and said, based on the supplement that was filed today, that was based on communications between the applicant and ORES saying what the applicant most recently submitted still wasn't enough. So I think there may be more changes. I'm trying to be very protective of those intervener funds that we have. And I'm not trying to not protect the citizens. I am trying to protect the citizens. This is the way I'm trying to do it, by being responsible with your funding and making decisions that are based on what our consultants say, and so that we're not diluting our credibility by saying something that may not necessarily bear out with our consultants. That's all.
Okay. I agree with you as far as saving the money, saving the intervener fund. I still think that I would like to say that the town board would take and honor a letter stating that for protection of our citizens, just so that we go on record to say that. I am going to, if the town doesn't, but I will strike out that Bridget does not have to review it. Send a letter.
Bridget, who did you, I didn't catch it all. Who did you say that already was opposed to it and they sent it to ORES?
The attorney for Clear Skies Above Barry submitted a letter. Was it the end of last week or beginning of this week? Time is relative to me. That raised an objection to the developer's classification of the project as a minor modification, and it was a substantial letter. And I assume that Mr. Wisniewski had the time to go through everything and back up his assertions. As you may or may not know, CSAB does not have any intervener funding. So how all of that is being quantified is between CSAB and their attorney. But I have the town's interests at heart. I've discussed this with special counsel. He and I were of the same mind on this, that we really thought it was premature, especially since we're on our third modification. And if we had looked at every single modification, there would be no money left. So that's all.
I agree.
And I
agree
think
with
that ORES has been advocating on behalf of the town and has been, and I know this is hard to believe. I can't believe what's coming out of my mouth, but I think ORES has been pushing the applicant very hard in terms of complying with the local laws. I think there's a lot going on behind the scenes that, because of the nature of 94C, we aren't seeing, but we wouldn't be having all of these continual changes to the application if that wasn't happening.
So I guess we ought to give her an attaboy, keep it up, we're watching, and we still think it should be a major modification.
I think we are watching. I mean, and I think that they know that we're watching, and I don't see that something without substance is worth your time, but I'll not tell you what is and what is not worth your time.
Thank you. So I will rescind my motion and just change it to, as a board, sending out a letter to ORES.
As the board?
Yeah, if we get a, and if we, if we get a vote that it's a majority that wants to.
So you still have a resolution?
Yeah.
And what's the new resolution then?
It's pretty much what I read before. Whereas these modifications include the addition of 4 turbines, location change of 7 turbines, addition of 3 temporary mesh towers, additional laydown area, additional cement batch location, and other changes that are likely to result in adverse impact not previously due or permitted that will need to be reviewed. Thank you, and town board.
Okay, David, you still second?
Yeah, I'm still second.
Margaret,
Okay.
would you like to have a discussion on this, or say how you feel? I agree that she's saving us money. Definitely agree with that. That she's saving us money in the reserve fund. I just think that we should be letting the ORES know that they've said that they want to make it a minor modification. Do you feel that the change is a minor modification? Would you be okay with them going through and saying, yep, it's a minor modification? But with all the changes that are taking place, you're okay with it saying that it's a minor modification?
These changes have been there since 22.
No, if they're
Here we
changing
are 2
and changing and changing. And what they're trying, one of these times they put it through and it, you know, if we don't, and they say it's a minor modification, we lose all voice. We lose all voice.
You
if they
would
say
too.
minor.
Okay, let's go ahead with a vote. Kirk is going to have to abstain from voting. Okay.
I'm not
Yeah.
until I have it in front of me.
Would you like me to read it again? I'll read it. Whereas January 16th and January 31st, 2024, Heritage Wind LLC submitted a modification to the permitted Heritage Wind project to New York State Office of Renewable Energy Siting Approval, and requested, I'm making it up, that the new modifications be deemed minor modifications rather than major modifications. Whereas these modifications include the addition of 4 turbines, a location change of 7 turbines, addition of 3 temporary met towers, additional laydown area, additional cement batch location, and other changes that are likely to result in advanced impact not previously agreed or permitted that will need to be reviewed. Be it resolved that the town of Barry send a letter drafted and signed by You okay with that, Dave?
Yeah.
Okay, individual vote. Kirk,
Abstain.
can you let him speak? Thank you.
Abstain.
David?
Aye.
Did you get that? Kirk abstained. David said yes. Margaret?
No.
I vote no. And George?
Yes.
So with it being a 2-2, therefore we can't move forward with it. As a citizen, please remember that too. Do not imply that the town board is endorsing this. Okay, thank you. Is there anything else having to do with Heritage Wind, George? Anything else that came down the pike?
They sent out a few things today just to kind of verify and update it. Came in like at 5 o'clock. I got into the office at like 6.
Okay.
So that was it.
Okay. Yearly training, folks. I preach about this all the time. Everybody, it's a state mandated requirement that the town board should take the harassment and discrimination workshop and also the workplace violence workshop. Please get those done. They have it many, many times. And whenever I get them or Lee gets them, she's real good about sending them out. The planning board and zoning boards also have to, they have a minimum of 4 hours that they have to do. So they have to do these two plus at least two other ones. So every year, unfortunately, there's not much change from year to year either. But what you have to do is once you have completed it, like with the ones I've already completed my two, they send you within the week, they send you a certificate. Please make a copy of that and bring it in, give it to Lee. She keeps it in a binder. The state says that they could audit that to see if everybody has been taking the coursework as required. If not, the town could get fined for not making sure that all the personnel that need to take this do take it.
Sean, is
Different
this a
courses.
video workshop?
Yes, it's video. Really, it's like 40 minutes long. It's not even an hour.
It was this morning at 9 o'clock. Yeah.
Yep.
The harassment.
Harassment and discrimination. Yep.
Summer help take that?
They're supposed to. Your guys take it all as one group.
we
You go up
take
to
it all.
Carlton.
Yep. We're all covered. We take it all one day. We do a whole bunch of them whole day.
Yeah. We used to do the county used to hold it at the village in their
Yeah.
offices years ago, and then just before COVID, I think they stopped. Okay. Now, I got all these different contracts all in the last few days. To continue on for Water District 10, we have been trying to do our due diligence to find a cost for Water District 10 comparable to what it was pre-COVID. So as a result, a teleconference that we had, meaning Bridget, Dale, you were in on that too, weren't you? No? Okay. Bridget, myself, with the engineer and grant writer, we came up with what they're talking about is for us to go for a CDBG. They're saying that we should get about 75% of the project paid for. We've already got RD. If we get another grant, RD, road development, is 50% grant. If we get another grant, RD will take away their portion of the grant. Let's say we only got a 40% grant, where they have 50%, and they would take away 40%, we'd still be stuck at 50. Now with CDBG, the feeling was we can get this grant, and it sounds, they're very optimistic about it, that we could get about 70 to 75% of this project paid for, which would lessen the cost. RD would still have the loan that we have to pay back, the debt service, but it would be at a much lower rate than what we have at this present time. So I've sent out all these different agreements for all this grant writing and everything else, income survey, and you have them all listed right there. We're looking at going another avenue here. So the first one, contract with the Labella for the environmental review that needs to be performed in order to go for the CDBG grant.
And this is the grant we were talking about in the workshop that might get it close to pre-COVID, hopefully. Correct?
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why this would be 70 to 75%, which will knock down the loan amount too.
Sean, can I jump in for a second?
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to clarify, one thing, because we've also been in communication with the governor's office. The reason why this stuff is coming up now when it didn't in 2023 and 2022 is because in the governor's most recent budget, they've expanded the WIA program where the town of Barry would be a better candidate for a grant for this kind of a project where it wouldn't have been before. And there's just more money out there for water projects specifically in rural areas. So there is more money available. So just, it's not that we ignored these things before, it's that there are new and expanded opportunities. So just wanted to make sure that was clear for everybody. I hope I said it into the microphone and everyone on YouTube heard it.
Okay, so what I'm looking for here is for the board to approve my signing of the contract with LaBella for the environmental review that is required for the CDBG grant.
You're looking for a motion on that?
Yes, please.
I'll do it.
I'll second it.
Okay, Kirk and Dave. All in favor?
Aye.
Well, hold on.
Yeah, on the cost for that, are they the ones that did it before for us in the original Water District 10?
One thing that we have to take a look at here is to even the income survey. For going a different route, we have to do a new income survey because the one we did before is over 5 years old and they don't accept that.
I understand that, and I agree with, but like the environmental, are we gonna be starting fresh and they're gonna charge us the whole thing, or are we
Just-
gonna get a reduced rate if they are the ones that did it before the first time?
It's just an update.
An update, so it'd be cheaper.
Yeah, it's just an update. It's not a new report.
Okay, perfect.
Same with the MRB.
That's the one.
Yeah, they're updates. They're not starting from scratch.
Okay, good.
They just have to have updated surveys that are within, I think, 24 months of the application date. I think that was what the number that was given out.
I just wanted to know, I guess I had my question was how much is Water District 10 that engineering cost of environmental versus the should be the same, yeah, yes.
Should be much less. You can't apply for the grants without updating
Right.
it. It's a chicken and egg
Yep. So I have
situation.
no problem with that, just I don't want to take
No, I don't think they want to do it all over again, to be fair.
that was on my
Okay. We had a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Next is with MRB, the engineering report. And as Bridget said, it's just an update. It'll take the existing engineering report and they will update that so that it's acceptable by CDBG. So once again, do I hear a motion? Margaret, second.
I'll second.
Kirk, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Now, the one thing, and you heard me mention this about WIA, one of the things about CDBG is that they want to make sure that the municipalities have applied for any and all grants that are out there prior to going to them. So yes, we do with rural development. So therefore, we have not applied for WIA. So we're applying for WIA just to meet the criteria for the CDBG grant. So once again, I need a motion for us to sign with MRB to have the WIA grant written.
I'll make the motion.
Dave makes the motion. Second.
I'll second.
Do we have the cost for what all these are gonna be?
Right. Let me see it. Right there. There's for the WIA application. It's in every one of the contracts. Yes. Okay, I'm sorry. Who made the motion?
I did.
Dave, who made the second?
I did.
Kirk, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next, contract with G&G for the income survey. As I pointed out, income survey, even though it's been accepted by RD, but that was like 6 years ago, they still go by that survey at that time. But to apply for a new grant, that has to be within 5 years of the application. So as a result, we have to have another income survey performed. So G&G, who did the original income survey, sent us the contract for doing this income survey that we're going to need to have done. Do I hear a motion to hire G&G for the income survey?
I'll make the motion.
Kirk makes a motion. Anybody else? I mean, the second? George, the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. It's in there. Okay, next with G&G, they would be writing the CDBG grant once they have all the information from Labella as well as MRB and their own income survey. So, do I hear a motion to hire G&G to write the grant for CDBG? Margaret makes the motion.
I'll second.
Dave seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, now get the ball rolling so we can drop the cost, lower the cost for the debt service on Water District 10. If all this goes according to plan, the CDBG grant, all the paperwork has to be in by like mid-July. We should hear in the fall, which means then we could go out for bid and we could be putting Water District 10 finally in the ground at a lower cost come next, summer, next summertime. I don't want to sit either early or late summer. Okay, next. Eagle Harbor. Now, Eagle Harbor Sand and Gravel is looking to expand their mining operations, not horizontally, but vertically, to 35 to 80 feet deeper than what they presently are, because their sand operation is just about the bedrock now. The DEC is the lead agency on this. And in talking with Bridget, we were both concerned a little bit about road usage. Everything else looks okay, but the road usage. And they're saying that it should not increase, but I'm sorry, with the major projects that will be going on, we both felt that there has to be an increase in traffic on our roads, and Eagle Harbor Sand and Gravel is on town roads more so than like Keeler's, which is all state highway. So to one count,
Eagle Harbor
is a county road.
On one county road. They do butt up to the town road, yes.
Yes. Was there anything in there but them about putting in a second entrance?
Well, backing up. So the purpose of the letter that I want to send is to comment on the completeness of the draft environmental impact statement. I didn't get into the substance. So back in February of 22, you guys authorized me to put in or asked me to put in a comment identifying additional items for the draft scope for the DEIS, which had to do with traffic and impacts to roads from blasting. And when I reviewed the draft environmental impact statement, I found that the description of those two things was either lacking or not there at all. So the letter is not about the substance of the technical issues, it's about the absence of addressing those topics in the DEIS.
Okay.
So I didn't get into the ins and outs of how you get into, into this property, other than that they were supposed to talk about whether or not they're going to have an impact on the roads themselves, and they didn't, other than giving the distances from various roads, which is not considerable. It's 400 feet from Maple Street, 750 feet from Pine Hill Road, and 1,100 feet from Eagle Harbor Road is where the blasting will be taking place. So, so when they're doing the blasting, they'll be 400 feet from Maple Street, 750 feet from Pine Hill Road, and 1,100 feet from Eagle Harbor Road. So we asked them in 22 to include a section in the DEIS describing what impacts blasting may have on the surrounding roadways. And in the DEIS, it does not discuss the impacts, it only states the distance.
Yeah.
But we asked if the impact is there is none, then say it. So
Tell them they got to put a water line around that block first.
yeah, well, so I'm public comment period is open. There was a public hearing at 6 o'clock this evening that the state held virtually. So I'm just asking for your permission to put in a letter about the adequacy of the contents of the DEIS as it relates to what the scope was supposed to be. I'm not an engineer, so I'm not making any comments about how good of a job their engineers did. Just I can point to holes in their analysis.
400 feet, not very far.
No, it's not. No, I mean blasting usually setback is at least 500 feet, if not farther. So 400 feet is not very far. I mean,
I don't know of any quarry in Orange County or Genesee County that's within 400.
I believe that.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt that.
So we can get into the, no, it's today at 6 o'clock.
It was stated Thursday night, 6 p.m.
Oh, then maybe I miscalendared it. Okay.
Our information could be wrong, but that's what we got Monday night at the planning board. 6 o'clock Thursday night.
I can report back on that on my report. How's that? I can get to the bottom of that, but I had it in my calendar for today.
If it is, Bridget, if it is tomorrow night at 6, where's the website? What do you do? How do you get there?
That was something. Let's see. Give me 1 second. I'm scrolling up.
Didn't I see that in the penny saver? I read it somewhere.
Could be.
I didn't see it in the hub. The hub is what I read daily. So it might have been in the penny saver.
Oh, it is tomorrow at 6 p.m. I miscalendared it. Sorry. My apologies for the confusion. So it's not too late. If you. Yep, perfect. Great. I'm glad to be wrong, so that anyone who's concerned about it can make a live public comment. The public comment period is open into March, a little into March. To get to it, there is a link on the DEC website. Did that get put up?
Lee said that she had put it on there. It should be on our website.
Okay. Okay.
The link is not on there? Okay, then I'll make sure. Oh, okay.
Okay. There's a landing page on the DEC website for Town of Barry Eagle Harbor Mine Draft EIS. So if anyone does not want to wait for a link and wants to Google that, I'm sure it will come up. And on that page, there is a further link to how you can log into the meeting at 6 o'clock tomorrow night. And an ALJ will be presiding over that. So it will be a public statement hearing. And the comments on the draft EIS will be accepted until March 1st. So I'm just looking for your permission to put in my letter saying you didn't actually look at this. Please go back.
No, I forwarded the copy of this letter that Bridget had sent me to the whole board, so you should have seen it in your emails. And as Bridget pointed out, she just wants our permission to go ahead and forward this letter. So do I hear the motion?
I'll make that motion. Chairman.
Second? Dave? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank you.
Okay, next. Need a motion. We do this every year. We have to make an official motion to have Margaret do the court audit. So if I could have a motion for that.
This is a yearly, every year?
Every year.
I'll make the motion.
Dave, second.
I'll second.
Kurt, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next. Received a letter from. What did they do with that? Oh, here it is. Okay, received notification from the town planning board. And it states, at the planning board on Monday, February 12th, 2024, the members agreed to make a recommendation to the town board to appoint Mr. Gary Palmer as an alternate on the planning board based on his resignation from the Comprehensive Plan Committee. So, do I have a motion to accept the appointment of Gary Palmer as an alternate to the planning board? Margaret made the motion, second. George, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, next.
Do we have an open seat now?
We still have one alternate open position yet. Yes.
Where in our minutes did the Kurt seat get put?
Organizational meeting, when you were late at that time?
Yes, that was, okay,
He was appointed.
he was appointed as an alternate,
Ben was, no.
but I had on the thing. You guys can go ahead.
Okay, we have 5 applicants for our code enforcement position. Our temporary that we have at this time, Ben Fabre, said he is willing to stay on, even to mentor, assist with the new CEO. He has done a ton of work in there, getting things organized, straightened out, locating things. So we have 5 applicants for the position of CEO.
But he's not one of them.
He is not one. I keep
So you tried really hard.
Yes, we have.
short of breaking his arm, yes. I'm not the only one, obviously, that would love to have this man on board.
He knows his stuff.
But he does not desire, as has been pointed out, he is full-time CEO for the village of Brockport. He has 2 full-time assistants at the village of Brockport. He is also a part-time CEO for the town of Murray, which is where he lives. And plus he has his own farm operation too, so he likes to have a little bit of time to do that. So unfortunately, we can't persuade him. Maybe if we doubled the pay, he might. I don't know. So, as I was saying, we've got 5 applicants for the CEO position. We can either do all 5 on one day, like a Saturday, or we pick maybe 2 nights and have 3 one night and 2 another night. So what is your general feeling? Pull out your calendars and take a look. Like I said, we can do them all in one day, but it would take like a weekend, either a Saturday or Sunday, and most people don't want to do anything on a Sunday, and I don't blame them. So that would mean a Saturday.
Well, what day are you suggesting?
I don't care. We got the 16th, we got the 23rd. Those are the next 2 Saturday. I'm sorry,
Those are
the
Fridays.
17th and the 24th.
I pretty much aren't going to be available till after the 8th of March.
Starting when?
Starting this weekend.
Really?
Yep. I'll be out of actually the country. I'll be in Canada this weekend. And then the 24th, I won't be around. And then we leave. I will be around the week of the 10th of March, that whole week. So,
Yes. You talking in March? We have the planning board meeting is on the 11th, but that doesn't mean they meet in here. We could do the interviews in the conference room.
That's where it should be done anyway.
So if you so wish, yeah, we could do it on 11th and 12th. That way we could appoint that person on the 13th. Yep. No. Interviews. Monday, Tuesday night. On the Wednesday night, the 13th. Okay. Knock it off.
I'll be back.
Yes.
11th and 12th?
Unless everybody's willing to come in on that one night. But long does it take? 20 minutes? 15, 10? Okay.
Also, to let you know, I don't know if he brought up when he was at our workshop, but our temporary CEO would like very much to be involved with the interview process too.
So we should check to see if that's what with him too. I mean, tentatively put it down, and then if
Tentatively,
there's any issue, you could email or text or.
Yep.
Because he would have the best questions for the team.
Yes.
He's really. And by then we can convince him.
And his input would be invaluable. I mean, he's willing, you know, if someone that has no background information at this time, no knowledge of how to be a CEO, but because of the training and everything, he would have some insight that this candidate might be very good, and he might feel that this person would go the extra mile to learn.
He'd have the realistic of how long the training and how much the person could take in a certain time frame.
So you want to go with tentatively the 11th and 12th of March.
Are we doing 6 or 6?
We do 6. Next one will be at 6:45. Next one will be at 7:30. And then the following Tuesday night, because George said he wasn't sure whether he could make it at 6.
We could do it later if we only have 2. I mean,
If we only have 2, we could look at 7 and 7:45. How does that sound, George? That's on Tuesday.
You're so close.
Deal's sitting there laughing at you.
They've sent in their resumes already.
Okay. Then that's what we'll look at. I will check with Chad to see if he's available those 2 nights. For the interviews, they'll give us plenty of time to get our questions put together. And then we can, on Tuesday night, we decide who it is that we will appoint on the 13th at our town board meeting. Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. And once I hear from Chad, I will start contacting the 5 candidates and set up the who's going to be interviewed on what night and what time. Okay, thank you. It's an interview.
I move that we conduct the interviews for the CEO on March 11th at 6 p.m. and then continuing from there, and March 12th starting at 7.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay. My financials, I don't have a report to give you at this time. Reason being is LGSS is trying very hard this year to get the annual update document, the OD, not the audit, but the OD, that is sent to the comptroller's office every single year for the previous year. And it is due by March 1st, and they have a number of municipalities. So they promise that I will have that report by the end of this month, but I don't have it for today's board meeting. So once it does come in, I will forward that to everyone. Highway.
I sent reports of questions on that. The only thing I'd like to add in is that we'll have to advertise for summer help. Our summer help that we had is not going to come back. So, put the word out. And Berry residents preferred. Yeah, they got to be 21 and able to operate the heavy equipment, that's smaller tractors, and the little dump with a trailer. So, preferred if somebody retired. But
Is it listed what the range or wages? Or
no, wages set. Is it? Yeah, 1875.
I think so.
Yeah, that's set.
Do you think you could get along if you didn't get the summer help?
We always did, but it frees us up to share our services with all the other towns, and the other towns are helping us. It really helps. The last, how many years have I had Randy? 2, 3?
3, I think.
Yeah, it really, it frees us up, all 5 of us, to go do what we need to do here in other towns, and then when we have to do our stuff, the other towns are helping.
how many hours roughly per week, or is it varied on the seasons? And
What did I have in there? 30 hours?
Yeah, no more
30
than
hours in
30.
17 weeks, I believe. Hang on.
just know if we can put some future, how we can get more off.
I'm pretty sure it's 17 weeks. I don't have it on me.
You ready for another question?
Sure.
How are you coming on the bid process for the truck?
That's the other thing. I hope to present that to the board in March so that we can start that, get the approval on it.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the specs because they've changed a little bit. I'm waiting on one vendor, and then I'm good to go. What Lee sent me today for that Excel sheet, that's going to work good.
Good.
All I had was stuff that was a copy of a copy of a copy, and I couldn't edit that on the computer in order to put it out for a bid process. We had to make a new sheet.
Dale, would that be something that's on the lot, or would that have to be built?
That's it. In order for us to get the discount, it has to be built.
What's the time frame on that?
All depends on the vendor.
Yeah.
Some are telling us less than a year, but the equipment, like the box and the plow and all that, the frame and everything, 100 and some odd days. That's one vendor's telling me that. And the other vendor that I'm waiting for has not got back to me, but that vendor has a lot more shops around the state or outside the state. So their time frame, I'm sure, is going to be less than 4 months.
Would that make a difference to you?
Well, we don't want the truck until 25. So,
Oh, okay.
you know,
Yeah.
we pay for it too early.
Yeah.
We got that grader is coming yet too. I haven't got a word on delivery date of that yet. That's for this.
Okay. Maureen, you just gave me your report. Okay. Very good.
If I can butt in again,
Yes, sir.
I did find that. It was 30 weeks and, or 30 hours, 17 weeks.
All right, thank you.
Okay. I spoke with our assessor. She said she has nothing at this time to report. Code enforcement, other than Chad has been out running his butt off around town, he has been out doing physical inspections on projects that have been taking place. Planning, Kirk.
Yes, Chad came to the planning board and discussed some of our zoning, which is lacking, according to him, and I think most of the board agreed. Land separation was one of the major ones where you could make non-conforming lots. We don't have any zoning against that. And Shelley has brought that up a few times in the past. So we should be looking at that, and maybe have the comprehensive committee should be throwing something in their comprehensive plan to that effect. He suggested that. We talked about Eagle Harbor, sand and gravel, which we already went over. Well, that was pretty much it. Gary, you were there. Anything else?
So he's saying about a particular question that we could put out on the survey that would help with this, and so we have some wordings I can bring up to the next meeting.
You know what, George? I think the best thing to do is to talk to him. If you want the correct wording,
All right.
go that route. That's all, Sean.
Okay. Zoning, Margaret? No meeting. Okay. Park, David.
Well, we heard from Jason tonight. So we pretty much covered the park end of it pretty good. Hopefully we get those tournaments in that. That would be good to use the park. Just get the power and everything back there. As far as utilities, the park's already been gone over. I did get an email from government that there's a program that for the EV stations, that there's a possibility of the township getting up from 75 to 100% coverage for EV stations. So I I was gonna print it, but, I gotta find it again in my email. But I'll print it for the next board meeting. We can go over that. One thing to bring up about EV right now, this came down automotive side of it. Toyota's pulling out of the EV market. They see it as a dead end, and they're going to hydrogen. That's their full, yeah, well, Honda is too. Yep. Ford is too. Ford's shutting down, well, they have cut back because the demand just is not there. Yep. Hybrid and hydrogen is, again, it gets to that whole technology and, you know, everybody jumping on one bandwagon, but there's other alternatives that now they're seeing, oh, geez, maybe we should have looked at this. So, you know, if we get something 100% paid free, why not? But if there's going to be a time that we put a lot of money into EV stations or something to that effect, it's something to think about how things are already changing and it isn't really, you know, big in this small area like this yet. So, something to think about.
Okay. And that leaves you, Miss O'Toole.
We've covered all my topics. I'm happy to have you make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay, wait, before we close the meeting, not that I'm making an instrument or anything, but, do you want me to look into microphone costs with Joe, or are you gonna? It's just to see updating our microphones so that we don't have to sit here like this and we can get better coverage and not have the complaints that we.
Something on that, I was thinking while we were going over this whole thing, just thinking, do they make a wireless that clips on? Because that way, if you kick back, you can still hear, you can hear up front.
Yeah.
That might be the best for everybody because we're all, and we like to do that because it feels good. So that might be something for Joe, you know.
No, I have spoke with Joe before. I was talking about like the performers have a little boom mic that's always right there, whether we laid back or not. We could talk about that. It's going to be costly because you need all the equipment for those to feed into.
Well, they might
But
be
how
able to,
much I don't know
yeah,
unless
they
you
might be
ask.
able to use the same transmitter what these are using. You know, I don't know.
I don't either.
Yeah.
That's
Make it-
something he could check into.
Yeah, we just tell Joe that
Yep.
his original stuff was lousy and he owes us.
It's not that hard to take it with you when you want to go back in the chair.
Yeah.
And I got to say, George, Carrie complained about it, but you are the worst.
Yeah.
Look where you are now.
I'm not good at it either.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
The reason you have to get so close, Joe explained it. If he started turning them up, you're going to start getting outside,
Right.
and that's not good. But if you,
The mics we had before picked up background noise all over the whole courtroom. So if Gary was back there mumbling or growling about something, we would be picking it up on the mics from right there where Dale is sitting.
Yeah.
So that's why we went to these, so that it would be, you'd only be picking up that person at that mic. But the problem is you got to be close to the mic.
so do it.
So, well, I'll ask him about that, Dave.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
No.
Well, then you start getting the feedback. He said you want it right about there to talk. And if you want it out there and he turns it up, you're going to start catching what you don't.
Okay. Next board workshop is March 4th at 6 p.m. Next board meeting is the 13th of March at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good. Not without us, you're not. Okay, do I hear a motion
I make
for
a motion.
adjournment? Dave. Second? Margaret? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone, and happy Valentine's Day. Yes.
I know, she already let me know.